So the first thing I'm going to do is take the old unit on this. So this video is like an install video for a 2014 to 2017 Prado 150. The old unit's pretty like rubbish. It does have a good JBL like factory like sound system. So under here you actually have a factory DSP amp. So all of that will still work. And obviously we're putting in our Vhedia unit today. Reverse camera will keep working, and your steering wheel controls will still be working. So all your factory options will still be going. That's all good. It's a super easy install. I can do it in about 45 minutes for a first time. You're probably going to take an hour and a half to do it. The kit's all plug and play, so you don't have to cut anything. And we will go through and put it in now. So a trim removal tool, which comes in the kit, pop it under here and just give it a little twist and lever, and then you can get your fingers under here and just give it a few pulls, and that pops out just like that. In the back here we have a plug, Aircon plug. That's the AC off. Now under here you got 1, 2, 3, 4 10mm. These are going to come out, so all fairly straightforward. Taking these out. Right, so those 4 have come out now. Then what you want to do is you want to get your hands around here, kind of grab the top and not the bottom, give a full pull, a few pulls on each side. Just keep doing it, and what you'll find is it will sort of like a pop out. So that movement was just going like that, and just do each side. It'll feel a bit stiff, but it will come out. And then it comes down like this, and we're going to take all these plugs out. So pretty much every one of these plugs has a push tab at the top, and pull it out. Now, it doesn't matter about where these go, because all our things can only go into place. All these plugs can only plug back into where they go to. So this is all pretty straightforward. Push down on the top and pull them out. There you go. Now that's out. Now you can see those are all the plugs at the back there, and I'll just show you. These plugs here, they have these tabs here. Push down and pull them out. If it feels stuck, the trick is to push it back in all the way, push it down, and then pull it out. So that was everything. This one here was in our hazard switch on the side. So we'll go through all these, and we'll use the ones we are going to use. Sometimes not all of them are used. Just a note there. So I'll show you what's in the kit now. So to start with, we have our screen and Fascia here. So 10.1 inch HD screen. That's the back of the deck here. FM, AM, 4G, GPS, auxiliary plugs I call these. I'll explain these later. Our main 20 pin plug. That is basically the main unit. It's a pretty important part. Manual in here and notes. SIM card tray, so that goes into the auxiliary ports. Pre-outs. Now you're only going to need this if you're running an aftermarket amp. And in this case we aren't, so don't worry about that. So camera inputs, so we're going to have our factory reverse camera into here, and we can run a secondary camera if you had a caravan camera or a front camera. A single USB port, we will run that into the glove box. Majority of people can use it for our dash cam or TPMS. A factory USB retention cable, that keeps the factory USB working. It's like a hazard switch there, which will show you how you swap that hazard switch cover over. There's the plug and play wiring kit with the CAN bus box, so the head unit can talk to the car. Auxiliary inputs, majority of people won't use this, but it can give you a third camera option. The unit has its own GPS. External microphone, we can test with it and without that to see what we prefer. Bluetooth antenna, this has to go in. USB drive for updates. OBD2 scan tool. The 4G antenna, the other unit can run its own SIM card. Our 2 external USBs and mic input cable. Our quick charge port and our USB pass-through just gives you a tidy USB. I will show you that part. And trim removal tools. And that shows everything in the kit. Normally there is a stubby holder as well, but I don't know where that is because it's important to keep your hydration up. Right, so the next thing to do is just do a quick check that everything's going to work. So we put our grey camera one in here, and our Bluetooth antenna in here on our main deck there. And then we grab our easy adapter harness cable. Now this is pretty straightforward. What you're going to do is you're going to find the ones that match the other ones. Now they should click in nicely like that. You heard a bit of a click. If you kind of push it in, it seems a bit forced. Just pull it out and check that the pins in here are all straight. Sometimes you just need to use one of our trim tools to bend it back straight if one's got a little bit kinked off or something. So you pretty much grab everything here and you start plugging them all in. So FM AM antenna goes in here. They can only fit where they can fit into, so you can't go too wrong with putting anything in the wrong spot. Again, this one didn't click in so nice, and I can just see this little pin got a little bit bent, so I'm just going to bend it up straight. I'm going to try again. That one's in, and we got there's two big plugs here, 6-pin and a 10-pin one. They go into the ones they match to, and you can see we left over with, I'll show you out of the way so you can see them all, these plugs here on the car side. Now one of these is going to be GPS. We're putting our own GPS. One of them is going to be like a DAB antenna. We're not running DAB we're going to run our own antenna. This here's our USB. We will keep our like that. And you've got this plug here, which was your hazard plug, which was going to go back into our unit as a hazard switch anyway. Now on our harness, you're just left with this one. On some cars you will be using this one. It's just that we've got two RCAs for the reverse camera here. So you can see one of them's going to this empty plug, so we're not going to be using that one. We'll be using this one. So now what we do is we grab our unit and we want to find the reverse cam that's going to the right one. So one of these ones, it is this one here. Now this one's going to go into our purple cam in, like so. Slide that in. Then we have our FM AM antenna goes into here. You can see that. And then we flip this around the other side and we've got our 20-pin plug going into here. Give that a push in. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to power up our unit and just check a few things. All we're basically checking for is power, steering wheel controls, and radio signal. Now, it just takes a little while to boot up and sound, boot up the first time, but once it has booted up, we'll be good to go. So straight away, I'll push the volume up on the steering wheel, and you can see we're getting our volume up happening. You can see our headlights are dimming that, which is fine. Radio, stand that. Cool. Radio's working. The sound's working. All good. Reverse camera's up working, and you can see our trajectory lines are still working. All good. Happy days. So that's all good, and we can go and put the unit in now, basically properly. All right. So out of the old unit, so this is the old unit here. We are going to need a few things. Like one's these clips. I'll show you how to get them off, but basically you just put a flathead screwdriver or a trim tool on one side, lever it up, and it'll pop off. Put your hand above it when you do it, because they can fly up. And the other one are these aircon vents. Now, if you look in here very closely, you can see there's tabs. So these tabs have to be bent backwards. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 on the bottom, and 1, 2 on the top. Now what I like to do is press from the front and pop one back, and then slowly pop them out. So it's a little bit hard to show you on video here, but let's try to explain what I do. So flathead screwdriver, get in here and you push it back, and you'll find if you push from the front, you can actually push it out of its, so it sort of holds it open still. So I normally start with that one on the bottom, and then you can normally get to this next one on the bottom too, and push it out. And then I've pushed it so far enough out that it's holding the tabs out, and then I do the top one here, and then you can see it's holding out all those tabs. Give it a little wiggle a bit further out, and I'll work my way down to these ones down the other end, and I'm pushing on the front of this other one now. So again, if I just put a little bit of force on it, they sort of pop out and stay out. Now it takes a little bit of a knack to get it, but once you've got it, you'll see these pop out. Probably the hardest part of the whole install. So start from one side, just give it a real good push here, and then I push on the other side here, and you can see the whole lot comes out like that. It is a little bit fiddly, so you can kind of see there's little things in here we had to bend back. So you bend them back, and you push it forward, and you leave it popped out. You can put a bit of force on the air vents. Sometimes they do get a bit stuck. So obviously take these over, and they'll match into our fascia. Make sure when you push them all down that it all lines up how it should, and just push them in. So just give it a good push down on each side, and you'll feel it all clip in. You'll go clip clip. Just line up the tabs up the top, obviously, with those, and you can see it's all looking how it should. Just make sure too to put some foam underneath the unit if you are putting it on the ground. It isn't so important with the factory one, as it's got knobs and plastics to protect the screen. Then to take off these, you can just use a flathead on one side and bend them back, and they will come off. And then obviously pretty straightforward. Take it over to one and push it on like so. So clips are all over and clipped on. You'll be left with probably like one spare one. Now there's one more thing we need to grab off this one here, and that this is an interesting thing that some people ask us, like, where are your units manufactured? And ours are manufactured in China. Pretty much everything with a PCB board is manufactured in China. So was the original unit. So just sort of shows you that there. Now we need to get our hazard switch out of here. So this hazard switch down here, it's got two little tabs you just need to push down, and then once you push them down, you can actually push this. We need to actually take this off here anyway. It's up to you how you take this off. You can just like rip it off, or you can use some pliers and actually pop it out, because we just need to pop that cable out like so, and push this through, and that's our hazard switch that we are gonna change over onto our new fascia. So that's everything taken off there. Now we're just going to change the button on the front of here. So underneath here, get a little flat head. You can see they have a couple little clips, just a wedge on one side, and it will pop off. That's how you pop that off. And then obviously that was like that, and then you grab the one from the kit, which is right here, and you just got to pop our hazard back on like so. Fairly straightforward. Our hazard just clips back over onto the factory one. Here's your hazard button back on. We need to put into our fascia, so just make sure it's the right way out. Slide it through, push it in, and we will now have a hazard button. Should do soon anyway. So I'll put this upside down. So just take a note when you do that. This actually has to go in with that there going down here. So I just need to pop this back off and flick it up the other way. So don't do what I did, so make sure it's facing upwards, and you have that little groove there down the bottom. You'll see on the other side it's all black, so that's the way you want it. So a triangle facing up with the grey on this side. Then we come back here again, we're going to pop it through, and we're going to click it in. And there we go, we've got a hazard switch all put in there. So now our head unit's all done over there. I've grabbed all the cables we need, and I'm going to start putting them in. So USB retention, this is going to keep our factory USB plug still working. This grey one can only go in one way. Push that in, that little tab clicks in. This is going to plug into one of our USB ports. It's going to keep this USB down here still working. That. Then we got our two USBs and external microphone. So what we do here is we'll just unwrap these. Now I'm going to put, well, you can choose where you put them, but one of them's going to go into our sort of our panel. Like one of them's going to actually go into the glove box. So what I do here is I'm just going to run one through to the glove box, and to be honest, this is a lot easier if I'm just going to pull both actually sides of the glove box and we'll pop it down. So this will save you some heartache. So if you just pull them, you just get a bit more lever out of it. You pull each side and it comes down, and I pull that one through into here, and you can just pull it all the way through until you've got about that much left. Leave that one there. Then we go back up into here. We've got our SIM card tray. Now a lot of people aren't going to use this. It's just if you want to give your head unit internet the whole time, or treat it like it's like a phone. Don't have to use it. Can if you want. Again, it's just good to put into the glove box in case you ever do need to get to it. At least it's all pretty easy to get to, like so. Leave yourself a little bit hanging out. The third USB, now a lot of people use this for TPMS or our dash cam. I'm going to use it to keep our factory port working, so that's going to plug into here, and I'll wrap these up, and this will plug into the back of our head unit as well. Then we've got our GPS. Now our GPS, all it needs is a clear view through the windscreen without any metal above it. So up underneath here or on top of here is fine, or you can even come down here a bit and there's some flat bits on the dash you can put them onto. It's completely up to you there. So again, just peel off the little stick pad and stick it down where you're going to stick it. Again, I'm just going to stick it up under there. So I've actually stuck it upside down with the stick pad sticking up onto this underside of the dash. Obviously just make sure you take a cable around the AC, because we need it to seal back up around the AC vent and back out the front here. It's going to sit under there, clear view through the windscreen of the sky. And then we've got our 4G antenna. Again, this can basically sit exactly the same as the GPS, just needs a reasonably clear view. It's a bit like your phone still has reception when you're in the car, no matter where it is pretty much. In this case here, I'm just going to stick it under here. So 4G. Now, external microphone. What I normally get people to do is I sort of put the unit in as it is now, and I sit it there. I start the car, I'll hook up your phone, and I'll make a phone call, and then try it with and without the external microphone. Now, it's up to you. It's pretty good without the external microphone. Could be slightly better like with it. It's a little bit hard thing to nail down, so that's why we're suggesting like a real life test. I want to put it in this case just because we're here, and we might as well put it in. So what I want to do is run it across here, underneath the steering wheel, and up into the A pillar here. So I will cover how I got a trim tool into here. I can't remember if these ones pop off from the bottom. There we go, like that. They've got a couple of little clips in them, that's how they pop off. So obviously you saw that one fly off. Try to catch them if you can. You can see what we have there, 10mm, same size we had before. Spin these off, and that's going to allow this handle to pull off. And the handle is the main thing holding this trim on. Now if you are running one of our dash cams or something, just do it all at the same time. Obviously, if the trim's going to come off, you might as well take it all off. This pops off like this, and it pulls out the bottom. Now, obviously, there's like an airbag in there. We aren't close to like the sensor, so we're okay. Running our cable, you see there's a cable trace here. So tape our cable to this exact same cable, and you can see the small tweeter down the bottom here. So tape our cable to the same cable tray. That way, you ensure it's out of the way. How they've designed it from the airbag. So I'm going to put the microphone pretty much up in the corner here. So I know I want it about here. So I just get a little bit of tape, and I'll run it down and I'll tape it in. If you pre-cut yourself a few bits of tape, you can obviously put it where you think you're going to have it about there. Tape it around like so. And you can tuck the cable into the exact same cable tray that these other cables are in. Again, tape it around like so. Tuck it in, coming down to here, tape it around like so. Again, coming down a bit further, come around the tweeter here, there's another cable tray, and tape it around the bottom here, and that'll just keep your sort of wire in the same place as all the factory ones are in, so it's all out of the way. Now you can loosen these cable trays and just pop them in the same one. This little white one down the bottom here has a little clip on it. It's pretty straightforward how it works. Just slides in like so. Alright, so basically all taped down. So obviously the microphone's dangling up the top there. We've followed the other wires down, taped in. Now we get to the corner here, and what you want to do is, you can see that's hanging out the top, come down. Now if you have a look here, we have a piece of trim that we can pop off, and that allow us to get into here a little bit easier. So put your trim tool in there, you can pull that out, just get stuck a little bit into the side, and you just want to drop this down here and fish it out. Now if it's a bit hard, you can just use a coat hanger or like something to help you get it down. We'll see what happens if I just drop it. You can get your fingers up in here and try and find it. There it is there. That was just from dropping it down, so pretty easy. There's a channel that it can run straight down there. So there we go, we've got it to here. Now we're just going to take it from here all the way across through to here and up into here. So I can pull this trim off down the bottom to make it a bit easy. And you can see I've just pulled the top of this panel off. It's just allowing me to feed this through. It is a little bit tight through here, so you probably need a screwdriver with the thing taped onto it, or like something just to pull that end bit through. If you do take this whole panel off, there's a couple of screws under the bottom, bolts, and you can probably get your hand up a bit easier. But that's all through. That's our external mic, and we'll just go and pull our parts back on, and then we'll carry on. Actually, with the lights off. Now since we've got this a bit popped out, we'll do our rocker panel switch. Now this kit here, you'll see it actually comes with 2 plugs in the back. Now obviously this is going to go into one of our panel blanks. That's pretty straightforward. Now your plugs here, you got the power for the quick charge. Now this is a piggyback cord, so you could actually pull the plug out of the back of your cigarette lighter, which is down here, and plug this into, and then plug that back into your cigarette lighter, and it'll be powered off your cigarette lighter. Now the only pain about that is you got to take off the center console area to get to that plug, which is a bit annoying, and I'm not going to do that because it's just as quick for me to cut one of these plugs off and hook it into our ACC and ground. So that's how I'm going to power it. But you can, if you want to use the plugs, pop the center console up and put it into your cigarette power. Now what you'll do now is, and then the other one just plugs into one of our USBs. That's fairly straightforward. So if you pop your trim tool into here, you'll be able to lever out a blank like so. Blank comes out, and you just want to run your cables through there. So we'll run the USB cable. Again, this is a bit closer, so you should be able to get these without using the screwdriver or anything. So ran our USB out, and that was going to plug into our other USB I left like hanging here. So one USB went into the retention for like the factory one. The other USB went to the glove box, and this USB has gone to here for our rocker panel. The other wire you just want to run up through is our power one, and I'm going to snip it and just tap it into our power on our harness. I'm just going to use our harness because like that way we haven't touched anything on the car side, and the car side's still factory. I'm going to run it through here. Hope you'll be able to grab it. That one's not too hard. Should be able to grab it with your hands. Leave that hanging out. Plug them in. Now these, just make sure you give them a good plug in. Obviously they can only go into the ones they go into, because one's obviously a 2-pin and the other one's a bigger one. But I like to actually get the trim tool and just give it a little push in, because they do sit very flush in there. So again, put this one in, push it through and push it in. Now I'll just tuck this kind of halfway in, because obviously what you want to do is test it like works before you actually push it all the way in, so you can still easily pull it out. So that's there, and now we'll tap into some. Now we don't include one like these in the kits, but we will do in the future, just to make it easier for people who don't want to like run it into that cigarette port. Again, you don't even have to like power it. All that's going to happen is if you don't power it, you're just like not going to get power to the unit. So we've actually got a ground and like an amp connection spare like wire here. It's up to you where you cut this. It doesn't really like matter, because in here in this braid is just a positive and a negative wire. So if we pull this back a little bit, you can see we got red and black. So red obviously going to ACC, black's going to go to ground like so. All the SPR connector does is like actually like allows you to bridge extra power off some, but I normally just use blue for ground, red for power. And you can see here I've actually just taken off our amp remote wire and our ground wire. This draws like less than an amp, so it's going to be fine. The other option is you can take it, you can use that ground. The ground's always going to be ground, like any of our grounds. The other option is ground, and your red wire in here that you can see coming out here that splits into two is actually your ACC power. So I've hooked it there for now, up to you. So like quick charge is the bottom, audio is the top. Obviously turn the car on and check that this panel around the outside lights up, and that's how you know it's working. So it's basically all that done, so you can push that switch in, clip in these little clips you took off, put the side panel back on, put that trim back on, just clips in, handle goes on in reverse. I normally put a little bit of double-sided stick here and stick this up in the top here. You can like work it however you want it to go in, but that's your like microphone. So all back together, and you can see the mic out the top here. Just remember, when you tuck this in, you like push it in first, and then like clips in. It's like sometimes things can be hanging out, just like tuck them in. And again, so this panel here has to go in and then a clip in. So basically now we're all done. Like now I just do a bit of like taping and tidying things up a bit. I'll show you at the end, but you can just like tape them a little bit how you like need them taped up, and then we can put the unit in. It's up to you how serious you get with your tape. I just tape things up so they're reasonably tidy. Again, there's heaps of room in this, so all the wires are basically going to tuck down and sit in there. So again, so I put it all in. Now the plugs are the main thing here, so start from like one side. So obviously 20 pin plug, push that in, that's important. Radio plug, I normally like to start from one side and I'll work my way to the other. Now you can see this like hazard one's quite tight, so you kind of do that as it goes in. So I'll like work my way across, like I said. That one, our SIM card, our USB and mic, our third USB. Sorry, this is our SIM card. The pink one was our third USB. This is the bit where I would spend a bit of time. 4G antenna, GPS, because this is where you don't want to like miss something, because it's a real pain when you miss a plug and you've got to pull everything back out to put your plug back in. I've even taped that a bit too tight, so I can't actually get the FM plug in there, so I need to back my tape off. So I think check it all and double check hazard plug here, that you like have them all plugged in, because like I said, it's a pain when you forget something. And then what you're doing is just want to tuck your other wires. Remember, you've got your AC one sticking out clear at the bottom here, and we just want to go through and I'll lift them all up so they help, so you like help them like sit them back. Line up your clips, make sure it's all clear in the bottom here, and then you just go boom, 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 all clipped in. Now, like so, normally before I clip it in, I do the test. I power it up and I test everything, which is what I'll do now. So again, actually what I should have done before I started is, before I pushed it in, was check everything's powered up. But we'll peel off this, check your hazard button, it's working fine. Haven't put the AC in yet, I will do that in a second. Put it in reverse, cool, got reverse cameras, yep, we definitely have sound. Scan the radio.
Radio news.
Yep, cool. We've got radio coming in, steering wheel controls are working, and sound's working. That is basically all we have on this model, and reverse camera. So that's all in. We're just going to go and pop the AC in now, like so. You will notice the old screws and they go in because they don't actually go in. With our unit, that pushes in like so. Just give it all a good check. AC is working all good. I'll take you through some things. You can like hide the AC coming up in there because it's actually a lot more of a pain than it's worth. But that's it all done and like basically installed. So you can see that's how it like looks. All looks sort of like factory, and it is looking pretty like awesome. So it is the head unit these things need. And the install is pretty easy. Out of like 5, like 1 being easy, so 5 being hard. This is like a 1 or 2. This is about as like easy as it gets. So I'll go through and just get rid of my rubbish in here and like tidy some things up. And I'll take you through the basic like setup of the unit. Alright, so once it's probably the first thing that everyone does really is set up CarPlay or like Android Auto. So on your phone, turn your Bluetooth on and off sometimes, especially on iPhones for some reason, and just press search on here. And you should get your phone coming up. Click on it. Now on your phone you're going to get something saying, you just say pair, and then go allow, and then it's also going to give you one more like prompt to say, do you want to use CarPlay? This is CarPlay here. When it gives you this prompt, say like use CarPlay. And now the first time it boots up, you'll see it it will take a little while, but there you can see it's all hooked up, wireless CarPlay. Now, so this is a good time to check the microphone. You could have done it before. Again, that's the internal mic there, or the external one I stuck up the top here, as you can see. Now, both of them are going to work anyway, but hey Siri, call Harley work. So I'm just going to do a test call here. So I did a test call, I like everything's happy. So obviously that's CarPlay like set up, so when you like jump in the car, this is what is going to pop up. Here's all the apps here. The main thing is you can see this, I'll show you how to turn off this, because if it's on like auto, every time something happens, it's going to stop it all coming through. Give me one tick. Yeah, so air conditioner, I put that to off. So that was just into settings, car infotainment, video, set air conditioner off. Also you can turn off the reversing line assistant, because if you have it on, you'll get double lines. So you can see it's our reversing camera all up working, still has our trajectory lines there, all good, nothing else need to worry about in there. Yeah, so when the unit first boots up, it's going to take about like 3 seconds, and it's going to hook up wirelessly to your Android Auto or CarPlay, which is auto link, or like that button there, that brings it up. Obviously you have your steering wheel controls here. Radio is like radio, it's pretty straightforward. Yeah, the other apps you can connect to like Play Store if you hotspot your like phone or put a SIM card in it. And like that means you can download whatever apps you want. So like some people just like to use off-road maps, memory maps, or gear, or like whatnot. Spotify, YouTube on here already. You can add extra apps to it. Yeah, that's about all the settings you really need to worry about for that model. So it's just turning off this, because otherwise pops up, which is a bit annoying. You can see the doors are the wrong way around. Settings, car infotainment, about device. This settings up here, 8878. Okay, there is just can type, swap front door, swap. That's just going to save, it's going to reboot. That's just when the door opens, it's going to show the right side. So that's like, so basically everything looks like set up there. You can see it just looks like it came like that from like factory. Everything's all looking pretty good. It'll quick boot. You can install the apps you want and it'll all be happy.